Welcome back to the channel. All right. The Saga resources for the opening ceremony Saga are in the game, right? There's just this massive sale. You can see some are for sale for units. I hope or assume we'll be able to just earn them at some point in the game too. And that always means, like, how should we use our resources? How can we best do this? And we do the tier list every single month. We've been doing it for over 4 years, right? So many people pitch in their expertise, their knowledge on that. I do think this is a different formatting, right? And many of you have actually requested me to do like the best 7 stars rank, the best 6 stars rank, and these sorts of things. And I'm happy to do that, on an every other month. And when it comes to these very specific Saga resources, it's even more limited because there's only so many champions in the pool. Well, today what we're going to do is we're going to go over the 6-star rank up resources and also the Awakening Gem and the Signature Stones. I will put a timestamp to the Signature Stones of the rank up, or to the Awakening, but I have to caution you. The way I've gone about this, because I do think this is a different format, is it's all going to be completely based on what you're seeing right now. It'd really be helpful to sit and at least listen to how this has been formatted before you jump to the Awakening and the signature levels, right? And we're going to start off with here. How did we go about this? Well, if you're interested here, right, it's because 6 stars are very important to you. And every once in a while, even for someone like me with my account as big as it is, 6 stars are still extremely valuable. And so the way I went about this and the way I did check with the Illuminati is, like, we're going to prioritize one, champion availability as a 7-star. If they're not available at all, like Absorb Me aren't there, they've got that A, right? Meaning, like, this is one of the by far best champions to rank up. Not only is he not available as a 7-star, but he's also incredibly, incredibly powerful. Going to help you clear content. Competitive modes like Battlegrounds, we didn't consider quite as much in this evaluation like we do in the monthly tier list. I think you can understand a little bit what we're doing. Really tried to take the time to make this not just the same format as the tier list, right? Because this is a different sort of thinking. All right, I'm going to remove my face here so we can really look at this, and then we're going to start. The ones we're going to talk about today are the ones with the red circle, right? I'm signifying that they are unique. There's something like different about them. I want to chat at least briefly about them, get you started off on the right path so you know, like, why we're suggesting these are the ones to rank up. The first one here is Diablo. Now, Diablo is incredibly powerful, very, very good champion. I love this champion. And he has been made available as a 7-star, but only in very limited crystals. There's just not a large chance to get him. He may come up in a sale later. He's in this Saga crystal, that sort of thing. So there's a chance you have him, but in all likelihood, most people don't, right? And you might have him as a 6-star. That makes him relatively unique, very worthy of ranking up. Have him with a B score, talking about him because some people say, like, well, no, he's available as a 7-star. And you're correct, but he's incredibly, incredibly limited. So when you're looking for champions to rank up, he makes a ton of sense. The next one I want to talk about is Enchantress. And thankfully, Jaeger, I told you, I showed this to you, Illuminati. Jaeger pointed out, like, she's better than that. And I do think on a default level, she's better than a C. We have her very high rated in the tier list. But here's the thing, is she's such a complex champion that, in my thinking, if you're using her, you kind of already know. But more importantly, I do think she's an incredibly complex champion. I think where she's really going to shine is long form, and she's going to shine as potentially a defender in war and potentially in Battlegrounds. Time's really going to tell there. And so when you're looking at your 6-star resources and how to best go and allocate them, I do put her down at a C because I mean it. I think you're probably better off in a default situation ranking up your 6-star Diablo. We'll continue to move on. I'm going to talk about Kushala. Now, you know how much I love Kushala, right? I got to even help pitch in on the design process there. It was an amazing, amazing experience. Now, she's available, and I think she might even be in the basic now. She might be in the Titan, but she's moving her way to the basic 7-star crystal if she's not already there. And so that means she is available. However, she's so powerful, and her signature ability, especially if you can get it to a high sig level, will allow her to more powerfully, let's call it, take some very difficult fights where her debuffs might get shrugged, right? Them turning into passives and getting a little bit stronger and stuff like that can be beneficial. So I at least wanted to call that out. One, due to her power level as just a default champion, how high we have rated in the tier list. And then how nice being able to just sig her to 200 can actually be for her. Moving on, we're going to talk about Mephisto. Now, on my tier list, general tier list, he's not rated that high, but he is high as a defender in Battlegrounds. Not available as a 7-star, just not there. And so even in very relatively high tier Battlegrounds or very high tier Battlegrounds, you will still sometimes see a 6-star Mephisto, Ascended Mephisto, doing good work. So if that's something that's interesting to you, you want to potentially look at him. Now we'll talk about Shathra. I will admit, as of right now, I have not been able to test her, but I do have full access to her kit, and I have seen the deep dives, and I've read her kit. I think she's going to be very, very good. Okay, so we're going out on a limb a little bit here, and I will do my best to go back to the pinned comment over the course of the next 4 months and update it on things like this. New champions, you can see we even have a question mark on the right-hand side. I think she's going to be a very strong champion. She has power steal. We know that she's at least going to be good for Maestro. I do think she may even have some usability against Serpent. We've got her there. You know, even if she does come into the game in the Titan Crystal, she's still going to be relatively rare for a while. Wanted to call her out. Of course, Clairvoyant gets the A because she's not even available as a 7-star, and she's very, very good. The reason we're going to briefly talk about Wong is, yes, he's available as a 7-star, but if you don't have him and you still have an Acropolis to do, this is what I wanted to call out. I think taking up Wong, like if you don't have Aegon, taking up Wong would be potentially one of the best decisions you could make. Wong was phenomenal in Necropolis, saved me a ton of items. I absolutely loved the run I did with him. Check out Normax's channel if you have any questions on that. Kate Bishop can do great for you, but she's not a Saga champion. Aegon can do great for you, but he's not a Saga champion. You might not have them. Go and potentially rank up Wong, clear Necropolis, have a great time, and make your way towards those 7-stars a little bit faster. I think it was either Jaeger or Aiden called out Domino, the kind of that relatively high score I had for her over Sasquatch. And this is where just, I think, again, just formatting this differently than a default tier list like we have every single month is, I think Domino, because her signature ability is one of the large damage sources for her in Battlegrounds, it's not unusual for me to still see 6-stars at Lang Quantum or Mysterium level. So you could rank up your 6-star Domino, get her to Sig 200, get that crit fail damage as high as possible. You know, she's actually a very good attacking champion. And then if you run her with her Holy Trinity, which is Red Hulk and Massacre, I've done a video on that, she can actually clear a lot of content for you as well. So it's not necessarily that in a vacuum is she better than Sasquatch. It's that I think when you're looking at allocating your resources and being efficient for a 6-star for these Saga resources, as far as rank up's concerned, I'm much more likely to say I think you're going to get a lot more mileage out of your 6-star Domino than you are out of your 6-star Sasquatch. Okay, you know, so B is C, so they're not that far apart. But just again, I want to make this different. I really wanted to think this through for you as far as like getting this information out. Now we move on to Namor, and I think Namor is an incredibly powerful champion. The thing is him, and you're going to see this when we go into the signature ability, is you really want him at Sig 200, right? A lot of champions these days can do big damage. So he's got that, but it's his Sig 200 ability to basically damage back, right? He reflects that onto the opponent who is initially doing that damage. If you're needing that, if you're wanting that, go for it, right? Because the chances of even pulling a 7-star Namor are so incredibly slim. But then to take him to Sig 200 as a 7-star is going to take a massive amount of anyone's 7-star resources. So if you want to rank up Namor, even though I've got him as a C, if you think he's going to be good enough for you and do some things for you, which he can, rank up your 6-star. Put the 6 stones in there, save your 7-star 6 stones for another champion who, in my opinion, is better. All right? Now let's go ahead and move on to the right side of the screen. And the unique champions we're talking about, again, similarly, have that red circle where it does. And Cap is very good and great for team building. Rank up your 6-star. Put those 6 stones into him. To me, he makes a ton of sense for using your 6-star Saga resources into a champion who's going to help you clear content, into a champion that you actually have the 6 stones available to make into an incredibly powerful champion. Cassie Lang, she's just not available as a 7-star. That's a big part of why I think she is unique enough and powerful enough to rank up as your 6-star. I've got her as an A. I am still a big fan. I know people have reported that the AI is currently a problem for her because the AI doesn't want to attack into her when she shrinks down. Test her out if that's happening for you. maybe knock her down a little bit, but she is an incredibly powerful champion. I got her early. I loved playing for her. Looking forward to when she comes out as a 7-star. Nefario, as I actually record this, I'm in a bit of a situation where I'm trying to figure out how I feel about him. My concern with him is that he may end up being a bit niche. I will get out a whole Nefario video. Check that out. You know, a lot of folks who have been spending were able to get the 7-star right away. I do think his signature ability is quite helpful for some unique scenarios, getting that heal back as well too, and then that unique emergent situation where the opponent may just get a large increase in power or healing. I like him. I do think even if he ends up being niche, he's going to be very, very darn good in his niche and deserving of that B. Moving on, this comes to Jessica Jones. Now, I'm aware Jessica can do things offensively, especially over the course of a quest. I'm not debating that. What I am saying is that if you're ranking her up as a 6-star, it's almost certainly due or for battlegrounds or for defensive purposes, or you just enjoy her, in which case, knock yourself out. Have a great time. But that's the highest rarity she's available. I see her in Battlegrounds deck. She is a potent defender. If that's something you're looking for, much like Mephisto, she makes a ton of sense to me to rank up as a 6-star and probably going to see you a bit longer as far as your usability, your reason for using her, your time and that sort of thing to use her as you make your way through Battlegrounds and the rest of your account matures and you're moving into the 7-stars. Moving on, I'm calling out Death of She-Hulk because I don't know her kit. I know literally nothing about her. She's not out yet. Make sure you see my new champion video when it comes out on her. And then, of course, where we place her on the tier list over the next 4 months. That's why she's got the circle there. The question mark. Literally everything I just said about She-Hulk. I have no clue who that is. I have no clue who's coming. We will obviously cover them when they're a new champ coming into the game and every single month in the monthly tier list. And you can utilize that to kind of make your decisions here. The last champion we'll talk about is Ultron. Interestingly enough, a ton of people pulled Ultron yesterday, being the day before I recorded this video that you're listening to or watching. He's great. I've talked about him in some other videos, and I think the main reason he started falling down my tier list is because he was not available as a 7-star. His signature ability is really important to him. It opens up a whole nother level of fights he can take. He's an excellent champion. I happen to know some people who got him, used their 7-star Saga Awakening gem, and took him to relatively high sig. I'm very excited to see what they can pull off with him. All right, now we're looking at the Awakening Gem and 6-stone portion, and as you can see, the format has changed a little bit. And the way I'm intentionally explaining this very, very detailed because I wanted to, again, like format this for you if you're in the mindset of ranking up these 6-stars, is I did include whether like you even should be ranking them up, and that's what we just went over. But when I went for this, I was, okay, the person, the viewer, the player has actually already decided they do want to rank them up. So is it important for them to be awakened for playing that champion? And then the letter grade is how much do they need? Like how important or how well would I say this is a good source of your SIG stones? Okay. And I did my best to not include my thoughts on how good the champion was, but in some of them, I just couldn't help myself. Right. So a couple that we'll call out here is like Absorbing Man. This is just a level A. I think he's one of by far the best champions to rank up from the Saga resources as a 6-star. One of the best to awaken, and then one of the best to put the SIG stones. It's not a coincidence that I feel the way about each and every single one. They kind of all go hand in hand. Kushala, I called out. If you're going to rank her up, you want to awaken, go ahead and use your 6 stones. Get her up there. Have a good time. Similar to Mephisto, right? We talked about that on the last screen, is if you're using him, it's going to be 1, for fun, but 2, for Battlegrounds defense. Get that signature ability to 200. Do it. Wong, I specifically called that Wong on the other screen. While his awakened ability is really nice because it's allowing you to choose which one of his spells he's going to start with, it was very helpful in Necropolis, or will be, or can be. But you don't really need to throw a ton of 6 stones into him. Going on to Domino. Just again, I'm going to keep explaining ones I think could lead to a little bit of confusion. Remember, the whole point in ranking her up was Battlegrounds defense. Get that signature ability, get those that crit fail damage as intense as it possibly can on your opponent. Throw your stick zones into her if you're ranking up your 6-star. Toad, I do not like Toad, but I will not deny that Toad is a very powerful champion. Toad is not available as a 7-star, and his signature ability goes a long way into increasing his damage. If you can get him to Sig 200, it's going to be worth it if you've ranked him up. We talked about Namor on the last screen. Definitely an A for Awakened ability and Sig 200. Same goes for Omega Red, right? The last one I'll call it on the left side of the screen is Mr. Sinister. There's been actually a lot of debate between myself and the Illuminati, and maybe more like information sharing is probably a better way to put it. The signature ability is great. If you're ranking him up for questing and defense and war and things like that, you want him at a good, nice, high sig. Moving on to the right side of the screen, Immortal Abomination is not available as a 7-star. I do think Immortal Abomination is very good. The prevalence or the prominence now of Battlegrounds has hurt him significantly because of the Despair Mastery. If that's not your gig, if that's not your concern, if that's not what you're worried about, I think go in there, give him the Awakening Gem, put some stones into him, get his damage going, right? We talked about Captain America Infinity War, no surprise. Great use of, it's similar to Absorbing Man. I just think Absorbing Man might be a better champion, but at this level, I think they're going to see you through. Their versatility and their utility is similar in its breadth and its reach. So you awakening him, throwing in the 200 SIGs, or I guess 199, makes a lot of sense if you're already deciding to rank him up. Quickly, we'll talk about Jessica Jones. Similar thing, right? We called her out on defense. I think it's the combat power rate. Once she already has the dossier, you're using her for Battlegrounds defense. Make her powerful. Make it harder on your opponent. Get that combat power rate going higher. Silk is someone where, like, I do like the SIG. I say I don't have a score on her. I'll just call it out right now. I'd give her like a C. There's nothing wrong with putting stones into her, but you really just want that initial awakening. I think it's for the slow. Spider-Punk is a great champion. One of the reasons why we're just now seeing all this really cool stuff out of like Eris and some others on Spider-Punk as a 7-star is the awakened ability, and then the higher elevated SIG is extremely helpful. So if you're ranking up Punk, that's a great use. Similar thing for Void there, just, well, similar in that the awakened ability and the SIG is really, really great for their damage. And then we will quickly talk about, where's the last two there, is Ultron and Vision. Ultron, up until yesterday, was literally only available from that raid chest. I think Ultron is still one of the most rare 7-stars in the game. It feels like a lot of people pulled him yesterday. I think it's just because he had been so rare. Now all of a sudden I know like 4 people who have him. I'm very excited to see what they can do with him. That being said, I don't have 7-star Ultron. I'm pretty sure you don't have 7-star Ultron because he is still so rare. If you're ranking him up, awaken him, get him all those SIGs, get it so he can take those lanes. I think it's Incinerate and Shock, and just increase where you can take him, right? That's really, really important. Shocker, great for SIG stones. Getting that first SP1 to potentially cost, I think that's like no power at all if you get him to a high enough SIG. And then, like I said, the last one I'll talk about there is Vision. Great opportunity to rank her up. She's not available as a 7-star. Her signature ability is incredibly important to her as far as finishing off opponents in that initial loop, which is what I think she's intended to do and where she's intended to really shine. I hope this was helpful to you. I have decided to go ahead and do a separate video for the 7-star and the 6-star. There's just only so long I wanted this video to go. And I do think it's a very different way of framing the issue of best uses of your resources, because with 7-stars, you're not sitting there thinking like, how quickly do I get to 8s? And I think with 6-stars, you're wanting to maximize those resources to help you clear content, to help you maybe play some Battlegrounds, get as long a life as you can out of these champions. And therefore, I do think it's a different set of priorities, or at least where you place those priorities or how strong you have those priorities is slightly different. As usual, though, let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.